like in this place there's too much noise. All this talking just annoys me because on the bus and also in school, like it's just really I can't focus when people are just talking and laughing and all the time.
Yeah.
And that's why I like that lyric.
One of my favorite lyrics is where I go to find my pulse. And this place is a brilliant place, or a place of brilliance. I forget exactly how it's worded, because a lot of times people think of a calming space as a muted, quiet place. But to me, I always see it as like a brilliant place, because not only is it a place where you can reconnect with yourself, but you can kind of reevaluate and take stock of like, this is me, I can be myself, and take that moment to really reflect on what you need to do to be yourself, and kind of reevaluate like what I need to rejuice and re-energize, refocus, and kind of reconnect before you go back out there. Kind of an idea.
Great. I mean, a line that I really like is like when she says, it's not that I don't know the answers, I'm just afraid to speak, and no one really thinks I'm listening. And yeah, and I think it's really nice. It's a thing that a lot of people can relate to, even if they're not exactly like Alezra. Obviously, she might feel it on a different level. But as far as for me, I think that's a nice lyric because, yeah, it's like sometimes kids don't, or adults, I guess, don't really feel that sense that kids, like how kids might feel about speaking in groups. And the third line, no one really thinks I'm listening, was I could relate to, I guess, because sometimes I'm in my own zone and people think that I'm not listening to them. Yeah.
Adults always think that kids have trouble communicating. There's always like this barrier that parents think that kids have when kids need alone time, or this perception of kids needing to recharge. And there's this perception of kids needing that recharge time, and there's this misunderstanding. A lot of parents don't allow their kids that same time. When parents say like, oh, we need some time away from the kids need some time away too. Like that sense of getting to know themselves and having that time to recharge and learn who they are. And school can be overwhelming for a lot of folks, and coming home after a long day and getting home and parents being immediately like, how was your day? How's homework? Da 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 da. Giving your kid that time to decompress after school can be so crucial in letting your child or whoever just take a moment to themselves. I don't mean to piggyback off your point, but like, it's so important to give people that space to settle, decompress, and come to you and communicate that way. It's so crucial. It's so important.
I wanted to piggyback again off of Rachel's point, where Alezra says, home is filled with green zones. I have my room and I have my phone. When Rachel was talking about how like kids need that downtime too, to like, take a break, right? So I feel like for me personally, my phone, my room, that is my calming space. And I feel like sometimes my mom doesn't really understand that. Like Madison's laughing because she knows like sometimes I just spend like a bunch of time in my room, and like my mom is always like, why don't you spend time with me? Like we should be spending family time together. And I'm like, it's not like I don't want to, it's just I find a lot of peace and comfort in my own calming space.
Probably for most people a green zone.
Thank you. Thanks
Hopefully.
for sharing.
For us.
Absolutely. Yeah. Everyone else agree? Yeah. Okay. Comme ci, comme ça. Yeah. Marianne, did you want to speak to that? Okay, I want to hear from you. What do you? Okay, yeah, you can speak, please.
Well, it honestly really depends on what I'm feeling, because sometimes I don't always I don't always need my calming space to make me feel happy. I need it to make me feel comforted. Like if let's say I'm feeling sad, then technically it would be a blue zone. So I guess it just depends on what I'm feeling at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like if you don't have a space that lets you into like a green zone, all your anger and other feelings, they'll just like build up and then it like won't feel good at all.
I'm just gonna add on to what Keely said. So yeah, if you don't have one, all your other feelings are just gonna build up, and eventually that can be very overwhelming and complicated.
I'll also add on, like, sometimes when you build, like, when you don't have time to calm down and you just hold it all up, you kind of put it on other people, and you put your anger on other people, and also you just don't feel good about it. You'll feel in a bad mood because you still feel the anger or the sadness or however you're feeling.
So this is an easy question for me because I don't really have many. I just feel comfortable in certain spots. So pretty much all around my house, but I have one main one, which is where I am right now. It's in my living room. I just feel better in here because it just reminds me that sometimes my family gets into arguments, but we all have to get over it and still be a family, or else. Yeah.
It's beautiful. Thanks, Xander.
Well, mine is probably either in my room because it just like lets me escape from everything else, or Miss Walker's room because it's just like she's really nice and it makes me feel more comfortable.
I have kind of a moving green zone just because as you grow up, you move around a lot. So for me, I collect fluffy blankets and pillows. So I have a couple blankets that are kind of my green zone. So when I moved away to university, in my dorm room, under my blanket, that was my green zone. And then my first apartment, and then my second apartment, and now my apartment here. It is still my green zone.
I have like a lot of green zones, but one of my favorite ones are my room or somewhere, because I don't really feel comfortable when there's silence. So like somewhere that there's not when it's like really loud, but I can entertain myself and not just be all the time alone. So usually either my room or like somewhere where there's a TV, just not too loud.
Gotcha. Do you mind if I add to this question, Madison? How do you create a green zone for yourself when you're at school?
Sometimes I just close my ears, but like secretly, just like this or something while I'm doing my homework. Or sometimes I just go to the bathroom and kind of calm down a bit if my class is being annoying or something.
My calming space would be like a place that's like really, really quiet and there's like no one to talk to me at all. So sometimes I'm on my phone and that just, okay, 1 second. I like to be someplace quiet, like my room, or if there's a lot of people at my house, even like the washroom, because, like you just know no one's gonna walk in on you if you like lock the door. It's just a place where I know I can be alone, because at least in my room, like, I don't have a lock. My family feels very open, so they like to come in my room a lot. And if I want to like think about my feelings and like think that it's nice to be in a place that's quiet, but if I kind of just want a distraction, if my phone's like a really good distraction, which is sometimes good, I guess, to have a distraction when my mind is racing. And when you asked Madison about like the school thing, it got me thinking. And I guess, when I went to elementary school, it was kind of like your room, because I knew like I wouldn't be like, I don't know, judged there. But in high school, well, now, I don't know, it's very quiet at my school, so I don't have that problem of being it being too loud, because at least in my class it's it's basically silent. But with all the kids that I don't know, because I basically don't know anybody in my class, it can feel like kind of like you're being judged. So sometimes I just put my head down and close my eyes and just collect myself.
My calming space is just kind of like music, honestly, because I feel like with music, you can take it anywhere, you can listen to it anytime. Like, it's not necessarily like a place, but like more of a state of mind, that I bring myself to by listening to music, especially at school, because it's kind of frustrating and like very loud. And I don't really have friends there at that school, but yes. But I still talk to people, so yeah. But anyways, yeah. They're very loud because, they're hanging out with their friends, and maybe that may be their calming space. But for me, whenever I feel stressed out or I feel like I just need to take myself away from a situation, I'll listen to music. And yeah, music is very powerful.
I want to add on to what Mary said. I agree with her. Music really does help with a lot of things. I could be really mad and I turn on a playlist and it calms me down, or I could be really sad and it just brings me up, I would agree with Marianne and say we both share the same calming space. Say, Aliana, stop. Say, one second.
There's our girl.
Eliana, I'll turn your camera off, please. Okay, thank you. Mary, you too, making me laugh. Anyways, thank you. But yeah, and I agree with Eliana that my room is also my calming space.
As many of you guys know, I played Lucy. Lucy is a girl with ADD, and I think she kind of struggles with feeling like she doesn't fit in. And I'm gonna stop moving. And it's something that a lot of kids can relate to, even if it doesn't seem like that from the outside. A lot of people can see different, a lot of people can perceive different situations differently. So if you were like a teacher or something, you might not see it the same way a student would. Yeah. And I guess playing Lucy has taught me to, or just being in the musical has taught me to always, think first before you make assumptions, I guess, about people's situations, because of all the characters in Lucy and Maayaa, they all kind of seem, or most of them kind of seem fine from the outside, but that's not the case, obviously.
I played Maayaa, which was the new girl. Yeah. She was a new girl, and basically her character was like this new presence in like all of the kids, day-to-day lives, and she really just brought some comfort and understanding to a mindset that all of the kids seem to share about each other. And I feel like she opened up their views on each other. And she kind of led a small little movement, I would say, of, understanding.
What's your name?
My name in the musical is Jacob. And I guess why I'm here is because I'm the bully of Elezra. Or wait, that's it, right? Yeah, that's the name. Keep on getting confused. So my character, I just want to say, does not talk a lot in the musical. But is the bully of Elezra. And I think they're related somehow, right? Wait, no.
Stepbrother.
Yeah, Anyways, so yeah. My role is the bully of Elezra.
So where did you have like the greatest amount of I would say, lines in the actual music itself, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Probably in the, like, which song I probably had the most lines in.
Mm-hmm.
Probably How Do We Survive.
Right. Would you say that's one of your favorite
It's
songs,
definitely my favorite to perform.
I played Sam for 2 years, I think. Yeah, okay, 2 years. So Sam was a character. She had anxiety and she was a diver. So that was pretty cool because I was doing swimming, so relatable. And yeah, so her song was called What If, and it was like about how like her anxiety focused more on like the small little what ifs, like, okay, so what if this happened? What if that happened? Like, it's the what ifs.
I played Blaine, and Blaine also had anxiety. And like her best friend was Sam, and Sam, like, Blaine was kind of like, she was kind of like a bit weaker, I guess. So Sam was like, if Blaine ever got bullied, Sam would like kind of stand up to them, I guess, and like help her out with things, because Sam wasn't really like, she was afraid of stuff, but not like most of the things that Blaine was scared of, Sam wasn't. And playing her character taught me it taught me a lot about anxiety, because I didn't know like half the things that people with anxiety go through that I learned in the musical.
So Yasmin, you weren't in the musical, but through the last 4.5 years, you were very close to people that were a part of the musical. So you got to see them go through the process. So can you speak to that experience of watching them go through the process, and even having watched the musical, what you got from that experience?
I'm gonna start off with saying I liked the musical a lot. I thought it brought a lot of awareness, which I know that's like one of the main reasons, but like it brought a lot of awareness to mental health, and it taught me a lot about those mental challenges, those mental challenges, because like before I even saw the musical, if someone who was a part of either one of the spectrums like did something a different way, I would look at them and I wouldn't necessarily judge them. I just like question what they're doing. And then when I saw the musical, it like brought light to what's going on in their brain and how it affects them and what they do. So it really taught me about a lot of that and changed my views on some things.
Wow. Thank you. So can I guess then, or assume rather, that that's what led you to want to participate in the musical itself?
Yes, that, and I also want to be an actress, so might as well start young.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me ask you this question, okay? And I know you didn't see this coming. So I will, give you grace and time to answer this, but you probably knew when the musical was first done, you probably felt connected to it enough to want to be a part of it. But would you not agree that as you got to know me a little bit more and maybe started to feel a little bit more safe around me, that you could be courageous enough to be a part of it, and you knew that I would work you through whatever challenges you might have, if that makes sense? Because I guess my point is that you probably have always known that you had a singer in you and an actor in you, or maybe you didn't, I don't know, but you've discovered a little bit more about yourself and your purpose over the last few years, right? Enough that you finally would have the confidence and the courage to step up and say, okay, Miss Walker, I'm ready to do this, because we've been doing this for like almost 4 years now, right? So what do you think the sudden change in you was to be able to step up and confidently say, okay, I'm ready to do this?
You hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I think, it's like what you said, how I got more comfortable and like not afraid of like you and my friends around me. So it was easier to do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's like, if I can speak to what Eliana had already said as well, she's like, one of my calming spaces was to come into Miss Walker's music room. And even though it wasn't necessarily quiet in my room, it was like a safe space for you, right? And the more you built those relationships, the more confident you became in just being yourself and being authentically you, so that you could sort of step into that, you know what, I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to go out on a limb. I'm just going to be courageous, and I'm just going to do this. And joined the Voices of Light group, right? And unfortunately, because of the pandemic, everything got shut down, or Yasmin would have been a part of the musical. So just for those who are watching. Okay, thanks for sharing, Yasmin. I really appreciate that.